Sweet. Whoa. We just got hit in the head by a seagull.
Very indicative of New York life, I think. There's our theme song.
Just like 5 notes.
It's really evident that the motor's not going.
Stealth bow.
Something you probably don't need at all. Because generally, green glowing things are usually part of your objective.
It's true. It's true. I love how like futuristic ambrosia looks. It's like I've never seen anything, let alone a medical cure that looks like ambrosia does.
Yeah. Well, we may as well brief ourselves. Oh. See?
There we go. Full dimensions and everything.
And it just got a big, like, title on the side there.
Yeah, they're using the language in there, too, is interesting.
Oh.
They adopt a lot of like, scientific or pseudoscientific language to make the world seem more believable. It's, I don't know, an interesting touch.
If you're willing to delve into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hair, none. But he clearly has hair. Leo Gold.
Yeah, it's for a different guy.
Suspected residence health. Yeah.
I don't even know who Leo Gold is.
Because this is the terrorist commander of Liberty Island is Lebedev.
Yeah, that is him.
So weird. All right.
All right, we're back. We skipped ahead here. We bypassed Battery Park, and we're now in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, and we kind of get thrown into kind of menagerie of colorful characters here.
Yeah, there's not very many people left in Hell's Kitchen. No. And those people that are left are they're just kind of toughing it out.
Hooker. The fighting, is it heavy?
Yeah. That's where it's at.
Man.
She just wants to be left alone. Can't blame her.
It's like one of the only like female characters in the game.
It really is.
Like besides like some of the main characters, like they're either hookers or evil like terrorist people or out to kill you. And she's wearing socks with high heels.
Well, there's Nicolette Duclair, I guess.
Yeah. And they have just like a chalk outline on the ground.
You just taking out the trash there?
Taking out the trash.
Let's see what's in the news.
Water advisory.
Uh-oh.
Chlorine spill in the Hudson River.
Oh, just make it cleaner.
Yeah.
Drink up.
You know.
Naval
Under
yards.
no circumstances should residents drink, bathe, or swim in contaminated water.
It's nice that they got Battery Park is closed. Because that's where we just came from. And there's obviously a big battle going on there.
Unidentified terrorist action.
And Brooklyn Naval Yards. You got to going there. And be safe, be suspicious. That's really indicative of post 9/11 rhetoric of see something, say something.
Mm-hmm. And the first thing is a stranger or foreigner, which is again an odd thing I think to see in cyberpunk kind of like dystopian worlds where like everyone there's like cultures are usually mixing and whatever, but it's still very much like homogenous.
Yeah, like we named our character Deckard. You look at Blade Runner, it's supposed to be a very intercultural world. It's not really questioned, but here it's such a dystopian, conspiracy-laced thriller that it fits more in line with this kind of paranoia
Interest in chemistry, electronics, or computers. Like, that could be everybody.
Interesting.
Large number of mail order deliveries. That would obviously be, like, if there was Amazon,
This is
like, back
pre-Amazon.
in the day.
Yeah, I guess they didn't predict that one.
And, like, taking photographs of major landmarks.
Yeah.
Like, any tourist.
Yep. Well, any non-white tourist, essentially, is what they're saying. Yeah.
You and your neighbors will sleep more securely knowing that you're watching each other's back.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh,
Oh,
12.
Jesus Christ. That's the second time now he's, like, thrown himself at us.
No negotiation. You try for a rescue, and if it works, it works. I don't need you second guessing.
Oh.
Always follow policy, and you end up like Anna Navarra. Is that how you want to operate? Never mind.
I love that. Just, that's so... It's such a jab. And there's that brotherly thing, so they can be informal with one another and be direct. They've got that rapport. And I love that. What other games tell you to question following orders?
Yeah.
And allow you to not follow orders? That's... I often talk about how, like, because BioShock gets a lot of credit for, you know, you were blindly following these orders, and you know, would you kindly, and spoiler alert. But that's why I think Deus Ex did it much, much better, because it gave you the option to not do it.
Yeah.
And if you did do it, then that's on you. You have to kind of accept that, and people are going to start holding you accountable for your actions. And really, at this time at least, no other game that I had really encountered had actually held you accountable for what you did, which just made you feel like you weren't responsible for half the shit you pulled off in games.
Well, and there's this idea, too, where, like, now that we already know what Manderley likes, we can now choose to align with Manderley, not based on, like, conversations or, like, you know, a Paragon or Renegade. It's like, you know, your actions will be able to determine, like, how the rest of your, like, allegiances fall. Although you don't get full control. Like, you know, discretion there.
No. But the option to choose non-lethal weapons from the get-go, I think, really speaks to that. You know, it is kind of on you to keep in check how you approach situations. And I just love that Paul's just like, you want to just blindly follow orders, or do you want to, you know, think on your feet and think of these people as actual human beings? Alright, so here we are in New York. Hell's Kitchen, actually.
Yep, and those clouds are moving fast.
They're booking it. There's a storm a-brewing.
You know something's gonna be...
I love how there's no cars in New York. They're all just burnt out shells.
Yeah.
So that you can actually think about getting in and driving around. It's like, no, that's not an option.
Well, and isn't this so classic where you just have one texture for the sidewalk and the road?
Yeah.
And, like, all the buildings look so drab and...
I have such a close connection with this, though, because this game came with a level editor, and so if you're making any levels of your own, these are the textures you would be drawing from, and so, like, I'm intimately familiar with all of these. Do you
know the names of the textures?
That's a good question. I don't know if I do.
Is there, like, a sans serif for, like, like, gray concrete? I have no opinions about this sign one way or the other.
You can really hear it humming away, though.
It's very loud.
Neon prices have not gone down, apparently. Or neon technology hasn't improved, either.
No, you think it would in a cyberpunk world, but they're not that aware, I guess.
No weapons.
Good thing we have lots.
We have a big jacket on, though, you know.
That's Heineken.
Yep. No,
But
it's Red Star. Heineken's a ripoff of Red Star.
Right.
I am Ambrosia from a drug dealer.
Let's listen in on this.
Talking about your wife, the Grey Death.
I don't know. If I gave it to her, and it was cut.
Jojo's good for it.
Yeah, so in this
People
world,
know
the
him.
Grey
He'd be
Death
hanging from a
is
streetlight if he was selling bird vaccine.
impacting the entire world, I guess. And the cure, Ambrosia, is hard to come by.
Guess I had
So
to do
it's,
something.
and especially for people that are not up in the upper class.
Yeah.
So they're talking about, you know, how do you get your hands on it? Which is actually very similar to what the new Deus Ex did with neuropazine. And,
Yes. Yeah.
Most people don't even think it's...
And this is the first time we're actually encountering, like, people that aren't homeless. in the game,
that's
or they're like regular civilians that are not
That's
homeless.
true. That's true. But I like how they do their world building there. You know, you're sitting in a bar, you overhear a conversation about how the actual practical effects of this larger narrative that you've heard so much about is actually playing out. Because you've only heard Yunako's side of the story, really,
Yeah.
up until this
Two
point.
blocks south. Not a bad walk, but the riot police have blocked the road.
Do you think her arm augments help her serve drinks faster?
Maybe she's hooked up to the the pop system, so she just her finger
Oh.
bends over and out comes some Coke into a glass.
That's the kind of technology I want to see
Yeah, there you
implemented.
go. Your hands would be sticky constantly.
Sure.
I'm gonna get a beer because certain someone's gonna ask for like 5 later.
Yeah. A thirsty pilot. That's what you
Yes.
want. Some
I'll
free
take your soy
snacks.
food. Yeah. Peanuts are no longer a thing.
Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Hey, you look like
Jock
a
is
vigilante type.
basically
What if I said I knew
JC.
where you could load up on
Yeah,
military
character model
hardware?
wise, yeah.
Where's
They're
that?
both wearing their sunglasses at night
Valuable
too.
information.
Yeah, that's how you know you've made a connection with somebody.
Yeah.
Is if you find someone else that wears sunglasses in a dark bar.
You can have this beer.
That'll do. His name's Smuggler.
So I like this how they first meet. You don't actually know that he's your pilot. He's just, for as far as you know, some guy in a bar who tells some pretty outlandish stories.
Thanks. Maybe I'll
But
have
it turns out, yeah, this guy you've been feeding drinks, he's
Yeah.
gonna fly you in a helicopter
What's that?
from here to Hong Kong.
And usually these type of characters I think you ignore in games because you're like, this guy's just a item dump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and he may give you some cash in return sometimes, but sometimes they don't.
I think one thing this game does really well is it gets away from the feeling like you're just on a fetch quest. Like you said, you're just feeding them items to get another item to complete a quest. I feel like this game really does a good job of making you interested and invested in getting information from people, and not because they've introduced a little bit of doubt up until this point into what's actually going on. You feel compelled to learn more by interacting with characters in the world.
There, that sets the stage. And he's already brought up aliens at this point too, so you like, I think any normal person would be like totally checked out of this
You
guy.
can have this beer.
I appreciate it. Yep, I know for a fact it's not just for government research. I've seen all kinds of executives coming and going.
I'm sure plenty of bureaucrats fly out there.
Billionaires, big executives.
Ask him if he's flown Tom Hanks.
Taken over by a private corporation.
Not likely.
Something's going on
Who's the
underground.
future version
I'm
of
a
Tom
pilot,
Hanks though?
which means I didn't
Who
get
would that
access
be?
to the
Yeah.
main complex.
We're like 40 years
A
in
lot
the
of
future.
rock comes out
Oh
of there.
yeah.
It's some kind
Tom
of
Hanks is
mine.
still alive somewhere.
Cryogenically
jar.
frozen,
Why
yeah,
they're always laying
in a
more
jar.
fiber
Yeah.
optic cables.
A pilot? What do you fly?
Copters. You know what I think? I
think
that's
helicopter
where the
technology
UN
must have
got
really
on board
improved
back when they
over the
promised
next,
us
you
they
know,
were going to stop
30, 40
spying on
years.
people.
Surveillance is
Yeah, you would think that.
Yeah, like I don't think you can take it over the ocean and expect to get to
even for the UN.
the other side.
I bet they did it. They want to centralize everything. Every computer on the planet.
And that's
Know anything that's worth the price?
another
of
thing
beer?
this game does well is that
Yeah,
a
this
lot
one
of things that
breaks that
sound like
Kind of chopper pilot
conspiracies
starts working
actually pan out by the end of the game.
Yeah.
And that's something that
do you
if,
ask?
in the background literature on the game, that's something the design team wanted to do, was to take all of these
I didn't know
conspiracy
you had
theories and
pilots.
actually
The black
see what would
choppers
happen
were
if
run
they
by the
treated them
NSA
as
to
fact
support
rather than
various
fiction.
classified operations.
It's an interesting little like bonus I think you get from actually listening to what they're saying.
Yeah,
And then on a replay, you'll pick it out.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. This is one of those games that really lends itself to being played more than once. Unless you're playing the first time and just exhausting everything.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't really recommend, actually.
No, it's way too much content.
Yeah.
UNATCO transfers
And you don't really know how to
back
process a lot of it the first
Listen to
time
your
through.
brother, JC. Respect his experience. Let's leave it at that.
I'm not leaving it at that.
Your brother's
Yeah.
one of the bravest men I know.
Some nice, like, soy food's just everywhere. I think no one likes it.
Another nice thing they do about the NPCs in this game is that, you know, a lot of them have good points and they're kind of respectable people. In a lot of video games, everyone other than the main character is got some sort of fatal flaw that means you can't actually get behind their ideas or support what they're doing, and you're the only kind of moral authority. Here, it's a lot grayer.
Do you know you can do this?
Yeah.
Cool! Wonder if you played it, you win. I mean,
I like how the pool bars they're just not quite round.
I'm just imagining that JC's just moving him around with his hands, like
Like a child.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you do.
Who's this fellow?
Used car salesman?
Maybe.
Glad to know you.
Although all the cars they have around here are burnt out husks, and
He's out of a job.
yeah, maybe he just paints them up and sells them.
Regulations, huh? So you are part of the crackdown.
Like I said, I have nothing to say.
Too stylish for the National Guard? Too athletic for NYPD? You must be from UNATCO.
I really can't be bothered right now.
JC is not having any of that.
How about I ask you a few questions?
Splendid. I certainly would like to know what an international anti-terrorist organization expects to find in a dive like this.
Heard anything about a secret NSF power generator?
Ah. Playing the detective, are we? I take it you've been assigned to eliminate certain weapons.
Excuse me, that's very rude.
Oh.
Am I getting warm?
Just answer the question.
Let me be more pointed. How does it feel to be
I
ordered
always
to
like when
murder
games
civilians
include.
just because they
We learn
support the fastest
shortly, I
political
think, that
movement in
he's
this
a
nation's
journalist.
history?
Yeah.
And I always like when
In a
games include
democracy,
journalists
armed
because
rebellion
they
is
just
criminal,
have a different
political.
perspective on things, and their professional interest in finding out information is just, I don't know, I feel like it's untapped.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is very easy to implement if for good world building, I think, because it's an easy way for you to get another voice out in the world, another commentator that's not just the player.
Yeah.
And so many people just don't think about it.
Well, and the whole premise of of journalism is to speak truth to power. So I think that's just a beautiful premise for why, for a game, basically. You know, you look at like Beyond Good and Evil, you're a photojournalist in that. That's brilliant, I think. I wish there were more games like that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, no word of the second one anytime soon. But
Yeah. He's too busy making Rayman.
yeah. Hey, don't knock Rayman.
I'm
I
not
actually
knocking
like.
Rayman. It's great. But is it Beyond Good and Evil 2 great?
I don't know if you can compare the two.
That's true. That's true. Another staple of Deus Ex games, multiple entries to almost every building that you will ever find.
Do we want to go to? Is that supposed to be
Jade
Jackal?
I think it's Jade.
Jackal Dragon.
Jade Dragon, I think.
How can you say that's a D?
It,
It is so separate
maybe
from
they didn't have the font, so they just put a C next to an L, and they're like, "I'll figure it
the
out."
House of Pain, the Ultimate Gentleman's Club. And this is not actually a place that exists.
Yeah, that's Oh, is that if you go up that ladder?
Sign him up for the Knicks,
Sign him up for the Knicks.
which I think is the best sign in the game. It might be. This ladder always gives me a hard time.
Oh yeah, you gotta get the box. Is that right? Or is it something to jump on? That keeps everyone else out, you know.
Oh, I guess I could have used the box and not. Ugh.
It's too heavy.
I thought we got the strength dog.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. This is probably the most, like, one of the more frustrating aspects of the
The
game.
learning curve is just basically the flaws in the game engine and the physics and collision detection, that sort of thing. So I didn't know this, but apparently JC and Paul share this apartment together?
That's weird.
Yeah.
To me.
Two grown brothers, both employed by the UN. Share.
Do they share one bed? Is there two beds? Can we
I don't know.
confirm this? Oh.
But this is also in a rundown Hilton or Ton hotel. Nope. Maybe JC just sleeps in the closet. He just powers off.
Oh my god. If there's one bed, I'm gonna die. Vishnu's Fall. A brief history of the Indian crisis.
Yeah, there's lots of little text work into the game, and I like that they're. I feel like a lot of games, every text that they work in has to tie into the main story somehow, and it gets, you know, you see something and you're like immediately you know that's gonna come up later on, and it just undermines it a little bit. But in this game, there are things that are complete non sequiturs that are more about world building and less about plot building, and I really appreciate that fact. Look at those suits. They are.
Oh, there's
they're
a stash here, isn't there?
nicely pressed.
Maybe not.
There's
Almost
the
too
secret.
pressed.
There's a secret room
There is a secret room.
but I don't know if we know the code yet.
There is only one bed, which means I guess JC's moved out.
Well, they're Nighthawks. Maybe they take turns sleeping during the day.
That's true.
Ooh. If you go down the other way,
No.
I think that'll take us into the Ton, and we can.
But I have to unlock the door. Oh, I guess I have lockpicks. I guess we've invested something in that. You mean this way, right?
We've been locked in our own apartment. Okay. Yeah.
Wait, how many do I have? Do I only have one? Yep. I could break it open.
You might need an explosive. Maybe we'll just go. Yeah.
We'll take the long way.
Yeah. Maybe we'll just cut this part.
Yes.
There.
I always like dropped. Like I've fallen. Oh, yep.
Oof. And the JC death scream it's something else.
That's definitely probably like the death scream in this game I say would be the most cheesiest.
Oh, this is the firefight. So here we have UNACO troops versus the NSF, and basically the middle of Hell's Kitchen.
Yep.
It's pretty gruesome to watch, actually, especially given that like almost everyone that you've met, well, not almost everyone, but your brother and the leader of the NSF are very non-violent people. And then I think when you get here, Paul tells you, here are some gas grenades, so you don't have to, just go in and mow down people. And then you see your colleagues here doing just that.
Well, and it's definitely like you see these kind of scenes in like a lot of Call of Duty games I find where you have like the chest high walls and you're like shooting at people, but like the game doesn't really encourage you, I don't think, to participate in this.
No, especially because this game keeps track of how you engage with people, whether you're violent or non-violent.
Yeah.
And so it actually inserts that doubt about whether you even should be participating. Yeah.
Yeah.
We took him out.
That's the other thing about a lot of games is they don't really care about how you play it, except in very contrived situations. So a lot of times it doesn't seem to really matter in the game world, whereas just even the idea that it does matter inserts that bit of doubt that can have you question what you're doing, which is, more doubt is a good thing, I think, when it comes to first-person shooters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another point on that matter is that even like if you're a savvy player, you're gonna know maybe to conserve ammo at all costs. At least that. So even if you're not thinking about the big concepts, you're at least thinking about like, oh, like, do I need to use my bullets right now, or like I might get hurt?
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm not gonna bother.
West Secessionist forces.
Were you at Squalmamy?
Yeah, it was night. They came in with thermoptic camo and we never picked them up on any of the sensors.
I think that they
What a
took that
goddamn mess.
word from Ghost in the Shell.
Had a
Did
hard
they?
time
Thermoptic
sleeping after
camo?
that.
Oh.
Didn't do real good on the psyche.
Because that comes up in the opening of that
Got
movie.
drummed out in short order.
The
Good
army
cyberpunk
probably didn't want
influence.
to have any reminders hanging around.
Yeah, and now
That sounds a lot like the JC voice actor doing
same
gruffer
guys that
voice.
nearly
Yeah,
left us in the
if that's even
Northwest.
possible.
Yeah.
Let the
I
brass
mean,
remember Squall Number
Clearly
now.
it is. But yeah.